What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're here to talk about the Senior Bowl a little bit. As the Senior Bowl will be taking place tomorrow. We have the American against the national team, the Panthers against the Dolphins. Not really, but that's the coaching staffs for each side. So let's get it started.
I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, guys don't know, DoseOfDion, he put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here, and today I'm going to be discussing my top players to watch from each team for the Detroit Lions heading into this year's draft. All right, man, I'm excited. Look, I'm kind of behind on my Senior Bowl talk, so the last few days I've just been basically binge watching Senior Bowl content, but also trying to learn about as many players as possible in the Senior Bowl. I still don't know about all of them, it kind of stinks. So I try to first focus on the Detroit Lions needs, even though you could make a case every position is a need. I try to focus on the bigger needs, but I also try to get players, at least one player from each positional group, okay? So there are a pretty good amount of players to look at. I think the national side is stacked. I'm just going to say that. Like, I didn't even mention all the guys that I wanted to because there's just so many players out there on the national side where I'm like, man, that side's going to be fun to watch. I have a feeling national side's going to win, except for the fact that I think they have the better quarterbacks on the American side, which could make the difference. So we'll see. But this video isn't necessarily, okay, here's the guy that I hope the Lions draft. It's more, these are the players I'm watching for in the Senior Bowl that I want to see maybe improve at certain things that I'm a little bit worried about, or kind of reinforce what I saw during the year. Maybe we didn't get to see during the year because they opted out. So should be a great game. A lot of guys from big schools, small schools coming together to compete. This takes place, I think, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So check it out, man. Senior Bowl. But let's get right into this thing, man. Here are my top players to watch from each side. We're going to start off with the American side first. And with the American side, the first guy that I have is Richie Grant. All right, Richie Grant, the safety out of UCF. Richie Grant isn't going to blow you away with his speed or his physical traits, I guess you would say. It's not like one of those players, well, he's to do all these things that I can't teach. He's just a very smart player that just finds himself in the right spot. He reads the offense so well, and he just knows where to be. He processes things really quickly. He's exciting to watch because of that. He just finds himself in the right spot. He's also a very good tackler. I saw him in one-on-one drills, and you know what? He wasn't the best at it, but he also was a safety. So for him to make a few plays was great. You see him play through the whistle. I mean, this guy's fighting to just knock the ball out of the guy's hands. He's very competitive, and the Lions could be looking for a safety potentially. I think he's more of a mid-round pick, but that's Richie Grant. He's on the American side. Next up, Alaric Jackson. He is the offensive tackle for Iowa. Cool thing about Alaric here is that he's actually from Detroit, Michigan. So boom, there you go. Look, the offensive line versus defensive line drills were fun to watch, so there's a lot more guys that I could put on here, but I really tried to make these lists smaller because I started from 25 guys, and I try to really kind of slim it down that we're not talking here forever. But this is the one guy out of the group that I really wanted to present to you, Alaric Jackson, the offensive tackle out of Iowa. See, look, I think maybe they could look for a backup tackle or someone for the future. But with Alaric, I think he could even bump into the inside. Some people were concerned with his length or maybe his athleticism to play at the offensive tackle position. But when he's at his best, is rushing the football. And if Lions want to go to a power run team, I think Alaric's going to be a nice guy for the future. I hope Logan Stenberg gets an opportunity next year. And maybe they look at inside guys. Alaric could bounce there. Other guys I've noted is, David Moore, Jack Anderson. So there's some nice guys. This offensive line side for the American side is pretty good. A lot of strong, powerful guys that have some work that's needed, but they're very powerful. But I wanted to go with Alaric Jackson, at least showcase him because he does a couple of different things, but he's really good at run blocking, and, it's potentially a spot that could be moved around for the Lions. Next up, Elijah Mitchell. This is the running back out of Louisiana, and, man, I saw more of this guy on tape than in the Senior Bowl practices, but Elijah Mitchell, I like this dude. I like him. I want the Lions to land the top running back. I want them to get Najee Harris, but I just don't think it's likely. I think Najee goes before Etienne, okay? That's my bold prediction. Maybe not Super Bowl, but I think he does. He was told not to go practices, but he is. Not everybody's going to play, unfortunately. We won't get to see Kyle Trask and certain guys like that, or Najee Harris. I don't think Devontae Smith is playing either, but I think Najee's going to be the first running back off just because clearly he just wants to be shown. He just wants to prove himself all the time, which I think is awesome. But Elijah Mitchell, one of those guys that I think could fall, and there's two words that come to mind when I watch him on film. Ready? Contact balance. All right, if you don't wrap him up, if you just run your shoulder into him, he finds a way to stay on his feet, just keep turning, keep running. He just tries to keep the play alive. I mean, he's very competitive, but he just keeps going at it. I mean, he just doesn't give up on a play. His contact balance is great, and that's important when you kind of get pinballed around in an offensive line or out in space. He's just tough to bring down. I mean, you really have to be formed because he will stay on his feet. He's cool to watch. Now, Elijah Mitchell, it's going to be cool to see how he does against this type of competition in the Senior Bowl. What I've seen on film, I like it. I like it as a late round maybe option, maybe a day 3 pick at running back. He could go earlier, though. You never know. If he has a really good game, he definitely could go earlier. Next up, Jabril Cox, the linebacker out of LSU. Okay, Jabril Cox started at North Dakota State, then he went to LSU because he was doing so well at North Dakota State. He was like, I think he was like a 2-time All-American, but he was really known for his pass coverage. He was his playmaking and pass coverage. And, you know, if you say 20 years ago, he may have been a safety, but at this point, he's a linebacker, and this is what the NFL is looking for. I mean, he's not too small where it's like, okay, I don't know if he can actually play linebacker. I mean, if you put him at safety, he looked kind of big. He's like 230 to 240 pounds. But he has a lot of explosiveness and a lot of versatility because of that size, and he can kind of fly around, help in zone coverage, but that's where he's at his best, making plays in coverage. And I can't help but want a coverage line. I mean, I can't help it. I want a coverage linebacker. Where do I want to see him improve in the Senior Bowl game? I just want to see him rack up tons of production against the run, because that's been something that's kind of been something he's missing, is his production consistently against the run game. And I really didn't see a lot of film of him with LSU, but I know he graded out still really well. He did every year. I want to see how Jabril Cox performs, because the Lions, to me, defensively, even though they have a lot of needs, the linebacker position, to me, is the biggest need, and I think Cox will be an immediate upgrade. And since he can kind of fly all over the field, it's exciting. It's exciting to see what he could be. So, Jabril Cox comes in next out of LSU. All right, on to the quarterbacks. I want to name both here. Kellen Mond, Mac Jones. First off, Kellen Mond, I like him. I don't think it's super likely we draft him, because I feel like if we draft a quarterback, it'll be early, but I guess you could take 2 quarterbacks. I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. I like Kellen Mond. I think I haven't heard much about him at Senior Bowl and how he's played. Some people think his stock will go up a little bit, where he could be a day 2 pick, which would be cool for him. I like him. You know, I have that video out on him. He's kind of like my late project sleeper guy, where I'm just like, okay, this is the type of dude that if we had Matthew Stafford, I would have liked to land mine. He's competitive. He's a complete leader of that team. He's very unselfish. He's kind of just humble and does his job. He makes big plays when they're necessary. He's mobile. I like him. You know, he's not too over the top, but he's reliable. He's consistent. And I like that about him. I feel like he could be potentially, you know, a solid player down the road if he gets time to develop. Also, that brings me to Mac Jones. Now, I know Mac Jones doesn't excite people because he doesn't have that big cannon for an arm. You know, he's not this big mobile quarterback. But to be fair to Mac Jones, yes, I know he's played with his incredible offense, and honestly, this offense will probably be worse in a Senior Bowl, which is nuts. I want to see how he does away from the system. But Mac Jones, to be fair to him, what he does well, he does at a so high level. I mean, he is the best quarterback underneath in 10 yards or less, which, you know, it's not crazy, but that's where he's at his best. We kind of thought that with Tua as well, which is why I was kind of scared of Tua. I don't know. Some people like him. I still don't love Tua, talking about low. Mac Jones, crossing routes, intermediate passes. He's got a great touch. You know, he's got a great touch on the ball. He can just drop it right over a linebacker's hands. Also has pretty good deep ball placement, but, you know, the average arm and things like that scare people. But also, I've noticed he misses a lot of checkdowns. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just a lack of focus, but he misses checkdown passes way too many times. I'm just like, how are you missing? You can make these, but you can't make that. What's going on here? Extremely competitive. I hear he's the first one out there in practice. He can run a little bit, just don't ask him to slide, because, man, I'm worried. This guy's going to hurt himself trying to slide. It is so awkward. I watched a game where he did like a little bunny hop and then he slid. I'm like, what the heck was that? Dude got up slow. It's like, of course. How do you practice sliding, man? But anyways, Mac Jones should be fun to watch. Mark Webb, the defensive back out of Georgia. We're still on the American side here. Mark Webb is cool because he's known to be like a run support type of defensive back that, you know, could be more of a safety at the NFL level. But what I liked about him is one-on-ones, man, this dude was competing. I mean, he was going at it, and he was doing really well in coverage. And I'm saying, okay, hold up. You're not known for your coverage. You're known for your run defense. If you can keep showing me that in pass coverage, I mean, I think your stock's going to go up a little bit. So look for Mark Webb. He's kind of like a sleeper. I don't know how much the Lions are going to look for defensive backs. I think more safety than anything. But he could bounce to safety. And if he can help you in coverage, maybe it's like a Quandre Diggs where I started at corner and then I bounced to safety. You know, something like that. But I do like with Mark Webb. Was that Quandre Diggs or was that? I think that was Quandre Diggs, but also Glover Quinn did that as well. So who knows? Mark Webb out of Georgia. And finally, this one's a absolute project. That is Charles Snowden, the linebacker out of Virginia. Okay, he's long. He's 6'7", 240. I mean, just that is the reason he's on here. The length, the things you can't teach, it's great. He's just so underdeveloped. He's got a long way to go. And that's kind of in everything. Pass rush moves, because he's kind of more of an edge. Like maybe for a 3-4, he'd be better. I don't know if you could play on the defensive line. You could try it, but I think he'd be better for a 3-4 if that's what the Lions are looking for. But he's long. He's pretty athletic. But, man, he seems kind of unaware at times. He's just super undeveloped. I'll just leave it at that. He's going to be a late-round pick. But if there's, like, those certain guys out there, I know there was a guy. I can't remember who it was. I'm pretty sure it was a guy last year like this that went kind of late. And it was like, well, if you want to take a shot on him, you think you have the right coaches to develop him. He's got the length. I mean, he's got a lot of length. And that can help him fill gaps. And it can help him, you know, potentially get to the quarterback. So, I don't know. Charles Snowden, just someone I thought I'd throw in there. Like I said, I'm trying to get a whole bunch of different positions involved. So, yes, I'm going to talk about defensive linemen and defensive ends stuff. And yeah, it may not be very realistic. Lions take one super high, but I thought I would at least discuss them just to give you something else maybe to look at by positional group. And this is Quincy Roche. Quincy Roche did really well. He's out of Miami, an edge rusher. And the Lions could look for edge potentially. I mean, Christian Jones could be gone. I don't know. I mean, they could look for an edge rusher if they want. They do have Julian Okoro, which makes me think they won't. But Roche was doing pretty well as also in one-on-ones, and it was kind of tough for the offensive tackle to stay in front of him. A very good bend. He's actually a little bit on the smaller side, so I don't think you could put him on the defensive line either. The quick step, things like that, not really there, but he's got a very good bend to his game that can kind of get offensive tackles out of position. So as a pass rusher, not much of a bull rusher, I think, because of his size, but I think it's worth mentioning Quincy Roche, and he's very talented. Now, let's move on to the national side, where I feel like it's absolutely stacked. It was tough for me to slim down this list because I want to name so many guys, but I did. First off, Trey Brown, the defensive back out of Oklahoma, who also played returner at times. Trey Brown, he's known as one of the best press coverage cornerbacks in this draft. That's what he does. So if you're looking for a press cornerback, well, Trey Brown could be your guy. Now, he did struggle in one-on-one, so I want to see how he bounces back. That's the one thing. He did struggle in one-on-ones, that's for sure. I want to see how he bounces back on a game time. But he also makes some big plays. He's also a pretty good blitzing cornerback. But, man, press coverage. Like, if you want to play some press coverage, if you want to get out there and get right up on the receiver, he's not afraid to do it. Trey Brown, he believes in himself. He has a lot of confidence in his ability, and you love that out of a college player. Next up, Cameron Bynum, the defensive back out of Cal. Cameron Bynum, another one of those guys that when I watched him, I was just like, man, I'm excited. Like, he was going at it in one-on-ones, and one-on-ones are tough against receivers. I just learned about Cameron Bynum. I knew about some of those guys. Cameron Bynum, I learned about him just because of what he was able to do in one-on-one drills. So now I'm intrigued to see how he performs on the game. But one-on-ones, this dude was going at it, and he was competitive. He was tough to shake. Cameron Bynum out of Cal. Now let's move on to the wide receiver position where the Lions could use some help. This is Sage Surratt. I think Sage Surratt's going to bump himself into day 2 pretty easily. Maybe he pushes for a second-round pick. But like Nico Collins, who we're going to talk about next, let's just talk about them both. Look, Nico Collins as well. The thing with Sage Surratt is you're going to be a little bit concerned because he doesn't get the most separation. But he's great contested catches. He just finds a way to come down with the ball. And his size is great. Look, the wide receivers in the NFL, you don't see as many of these guys anymore. It seems like we're just going for speed now. But Surratt's this type of dude that you just throw it up to him and you can bet that he's coming down with the football, even contested. That makes me think of Kenny and Marvin, who weren't getting a lot of separation but found a way to come down with it. So if that's the way you're looking for, you want an outside guy like that, Surratt could be the move. That brings me to Nico Collins, who I picked as my sleeper. I think he's moving up boards, which stinks because we may not get him, but I hope we do. I like Nico for years. I feel like this guy's going to be tough in the NFL. You know what? I've done a video on it. I don't need to explain it, but his ability to adjust to the ball in the air and make plays on the football and just whatever means necessary, come down with it, it's cool. And he's actually a lot faster than people give him credit for. So Nico and Sage Surratt, 2 good outside wide receivers to look at. Now let's move on to the guys who've been getting all of the hype so far as the Senior Bowl, and that's Dwayne Eskridge, the little wide receiver out of Western Michigan who is extremely fast. He was a track star in high school. He's projected to run at 4.35. We'll see where that turns out, but he is just so fast. Now, in college, the issue was that his route tree was only like 2. It was like go deep or run a slant. Okay, well, that's not great. So you're a little bit worried. And you also have some drop issues where you're thinking, as an NFL player, you got to be more consistent catching the ball. But once you get in his hands, it's just like you can't catch him. Doesn't need moves. He's just too fast. I mean, you can have the angle on him. I just see him outrunning players. Now, of course, Western Michigan and MAC, that's different than the type of competition he's going to go in the Senior Bowl. That's why he's going to be so fun to watch. But so far in practices, people haven't been able to keep up with him, and people don't want to cover him. Drag routes underneath. He opens up a lot of things. Deep routes. People don't want to mess with him. You remember what Marvin Hall was doing for us? All right, now think of Dwayne Eskridge. That's 4.35 40. I want to see him consistently catch the ball. I even saw some drops in the Senior Bowl where I'm saying you got to finish off the play. But he's so fast. I mean, he is so fast. And he was able to run more routes, get separation. He's tough. He's tough. And I would not have an issue with the Lions drafting him as of right now. This dude looks like just a man amongst boys out there sometimes. Okay, that's Carlos Basham. I mean, I can't help but say sometimes this is the best defensive lineman out there on the field. Carlos Basham is difficult to stay in front of. And he also shows you they can play outside, inside. I mean, look, defensive line for Lions, definitely not the biggest need. But if you wanted to go to maybe a 4-3 look and maybe wanted more pass rush, I mean, Cornell, I think is going to help you a lot there when he comes back. But maybe this is someone you look, I don't know what they're looking for. But I can tell you this, if you want a pass rushing defensive lineman, there's some good ones. But Carlos Basham Jr., he's tough to stay in front of. He's quick, he's explosive, he's strong, he can line up outside, inside, which makes you have that versatility for a 4-3. He's good. I like Carlos Basham Jr. I like Boogie, all right? Now, this is another defensive lineman out of Washington that I think is getting kind of overlooked because of some of these other guys that are popping up. But this is Levi Onwuzurike. Now, Levi Onwuzurike doesn't have the type of stats like a Nix out of, I think his name Nix, or is it Nixon, out of Iowa. He doesn't have the Basham stats, and I think those guys will easily go ahead of him. But I'm telling you right now, don't let the stats fool you. Watch this guy on film. The guy explodes off the snap. He explodes. And I think, again, another guy that has size for defensive tackle, potentially if you want a 4-3 pass rusher, Levi could be him. But again, he just probably will go too early. But who knows? If he fell, someone to watch for. We'll see how he does. Chaz Surratt, not a big Surratt guy. I didn't love how he played in 2020. He struggled in coverage for sure. He seemed to be lost, especially in zone at times. Run defense, missed tackles. He had issues last year. But I think it's also somewhat expected. I mean, they pretty much just blitzed him all the time last year. It's kind of expected, though, because he hasn't played that much linebacker. I mean, he was the guy that went from quarterback to linebacker. His brother is Sage Surratt. He went from quarterback to linebacker, and he struggled a little bit last year. But because of what the NFL is going to, if you're trying to play zone, you're trying to get guys over the middle that can help in coverage and just has speed and space to keep up with some of these guys, like your Dwayne Eskridge, he could help you because he can play many different positions. And he also, being a former quarterback, I feel like could be a leader of a defense. I think, he would know what to look for. He's probably really good at reading a quarterback's eyes. I've talked about him before. Not my favorite guy. His production, he just wasn't that great in 2020. But I am really intrigued to see how he plays on this stage. I really want to see how he does. Surratt's just a really interesting player. Just as simple as that. Khalil Herbert, the running back out of Virginia Tech, maybe my favorite player so far. Just saying it. I'm just being honest. I mean, not enough people know about Khalil Herbert, and I'm fine with that. If we can't land a top running back and we're looking at day 3 and we're like, who do we get? And Khalil Herbert's on the board, take Khalil Herbert. I'm telling you right now, Khalil Herbert is good. Good. He's a good running back, okay? Now, he's pretty big. He's like 5'9", 210, 212 pounds. But, man, his vision is awesome. Awesome. And that's what I've been looking for. Guys that can find the hole. And he's just so slippery with it. He kind of just moves around. He plays so smooth. And he finds the hole and he takes off. Doesn't have the blazing speed. Not the biggest, strongest guy. But he's just so good at reading the holes. And his vision is just remarkable. He's just, every year he got better. He went from Kansas to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, he took off. And I think that I also fly him down the boards a little bit. So, hey, I'll be going with Khalil Herbert as another running back here. Now, next up, this is someone that's just been, he's just been on it, all right? He's just been on it. This is Cade Johnson, the wide receiver out of South Dakota State University. Okay, you watch him at South Dakota State, and you're saying, wow, this guy's good. I mean, he's fast. He catches everything. He's got one-handed grabs. Like, wow, this guy's really good. He's kind of small, but, he's not playing competition. And then you watch him on one-on-ones in the Senior Bowl, and you're like, man, this guy gets a lot of separation. And he's got really good hands, and he's fast. And you're saying, hold up, wait a minute. If people are going to overlook this guy because of where he went, let them overlook him. All right, just let him overlook, because Cade Johnson doesn't have the size maybe you're looking for unless you're playing slot. But he's fast. Not fast like Eskridge, but he's fast. And he catches everything. It just seems like he catches everything. I mean, he's really just so overlooked to me right now. And what he's done so far in the Senior Bowl is just, it's kind of reinforcing what I saw from him a little bit on film, to be honest with you. I like Cade Johnson. I like what he's done so far. Look out for that guy. Now, there's a lot of wide receivers I can bring up. I had initially wrote down Tylan Wallace, because Tylan Wallace can do everything, and I think he'll be a day 2 pick because he does it all. Run after catch, he's powerful. He catches it. A lot of his passes, he can go up and get it. He can be a possession guy. He does everything. Those type of guys. I mean, look, the wide receiver class is really good again. So I think, guys like Tylan Wallace, so, we'll see if we go after that or not. I mean, Tylan Wallace to me is going to be a good wide receiver. But these sleepers like these Eskridge, and there's the sleepers like I'm really starting to like this Johnson guy, this Cade Johnson, that could be like late round picks or if Lions want another receiver or wherever. These are the kind of guys to look at here, and I thought I would at least mention them and put them on the list. Quarterbacks for this side, Ian Book, Sam Ellinger. Felipe Franks, I don't know which side he's on. I honestly forgot. But that guy can't get the ball out of his hands. I mean, he just holds on the ball so long. And I'm like, I can't do it. You can't do it, man. I don't know. It takes a lot of developing there. I mean, yeah, he flashes, but the guy out of Arkansas. Now, Ian Book, he deserves some credit. Ian Book, to me, is kind of slept on because, again, he doesn't have the physical traits. He's not super fast. He's not all this and all that and all that excitement. And, he's hit his ceiling already. But he's a leader. He's 100% a leader, and he's leading at the Senior Bowl. He's clapping. He's trying to get everybody engaged, energetic. He's reliable. He played a long time. He's been through it. I mean, look, I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I also don't love the high ceiling for Ian Book, but if you're looking late round and you want a player that has the intangibles, which is what Brad Holmes looks for, a guy that's passionate, a guy that's a leader of a team, Ian Book could be your guy, and he's also pretty mobile. It's just what can he do in the pocket? He looked good in the pocket on at least short routes. I want to see him take some shots. Ellinger, on the other hand, yikes, I didn't like him in college. But, I mean, look, it was like a couple years ago I did like the thought of maybe an Ellinger, but he just hasn't improved enough for me. And I'm thinking, I just don't know. He doesn't make passes to the outside enough. He just takes off too often. And it's like he just lives over the middle, which is fine. Maybe if he has a great game where he's like hitting things to the outside and he's showing you his ability to push the ball, then maybe that could help us stock. Maybe we're talking about something different because he does have, look, he's a gamer. He's played a long time as well at Texas. He wants to win. He's very competitive, just like Ian Book is. He just has some passing issues, and you're not confident with him as your quarterback. But maybe if he has a big game, that could bump him up. And I also want to end it off with Hamza Nasiruddin. I don't know how to say his name. He's the safety. He's a big safety. I wanted to put him in here as well because I think safety is somewhere the Lions look. Hamza struggled in one-on-ones, but you could tell he's just outmatched as a safety. However, he's a big guy, and he can give you some run support, kind of bump down a little bit. Gives me Kyle Duggar vibes a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So those are the players for me, personally, to watch for the American and national side. This probably could have went on for a very long time. Here's a list of some other guys that, definitely could have been mentioned that I've mentioned in other takes before. Talon Wallace, wide receiver, Oklahoma State. He's just really good at everything. He's also really good after the catch, and he seems to be very reliable. I think he'll be a day 2 pick. Ambry Thomas out of Michigan could be a late day 3 pick, but he's very physical, he's very fast, he just can be a little bit over physical, and he plays a lot of man-to-man defense at Michigan. Kadarius Toney could be a first-round pick out of Florida. I know some people think that we could draft him potentially. He's got some speed to him a little bit. Jonathan Cooper, defensive line at Ohio State, he's done a very good job getting pass rush so far from what I've seen in the Senior Bowl practices. Justin Hilliard out of linebacker out of Ohio State as well. He's done pretty well in coverage, and during the season he did, out of Tough Borland, and those guys, I feel like he was the best one in coverage. So I do kind of like Justin Hilliard a little bit potentially. David Moore, offensive lineman out of Gambling State. Very powerful offensive lineman, just like Jack Anderson out of Texas Tech. They both did really well holding up, getting on the pads, getting their hands locked, and it was very difficult to get off. Those two are exciting. Those are two guys that you could definitely mention. I just kind of stayed away from offensive line a little bit. Michael Carter, definitely had him in another take. Running back out of North Carolina. Talented running back. Looks like Swift a little bit to me. That's my only concern. Is he almost looks maybe too much like Swift, but Swift to me is a way better, pass-catching running back. But definitely could be mentioned. I think he's also a day 2 pick. He's probably the top 5 running backs for sure. So a lot of our names here, and there's comment down below who you guys are going to be looking out for in the Senior Bowl. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.